Hello, good morning. I am Jayashree Deepshikha. I'm your host for today. So I'm talking to Sir Dr. Jitu Mishra. He's an archaeologist. When I recently met him, I got to know him. He's a very gentle person, very kind person. He's very helpful in nature, and he had written lots of books. And he gave me his book recently, Kalinga, Love's Battlefield, a saga of romance, valor, and spiritual awakening. So I'm going to ask Sir about how he came across this idea of writing this book, and then what was his journey of writing this book. Hello,
Thank
Sir.
you,
I
thank you, thank
welcome.
you, thank you so much, Jayashree, for the introduction. I am so humbled to be here. And the book which you are talking about, Kalinga Love's Battlefield, uh, it is a journey, I think, which spans for more than 30 years. So when I decided to do my PhD on early urbanizations in Odisha and its relationship with Buddhism and maritime trade, so we would stay here. I mean, very close to Brahmeswar Temple is a place called Brahmeswar Bagh, and about 200-300 meters from here. And that time in mid 90s. So, and I would when I would come to from Deccan College to Bhubaneswar. First, I would go to Dholi, which is not very far from here, the place where the Kalinga War was fought, and the book is also set in Dholi. And then I would be simply transported back to 3rd century BC when this entire area, the entire landscape was full of activities. Buddhism. I would I would try to understand that how life would have been there, and this is how I had been thinking, quite contemplating for last 2-3 decades, uh, visiting all these places. Then I I was always trying to imagine that how would have been the life at that time. So today, for example, when we talk about Odisha, so we have still retained, fortunately, we have still retained many of the old aspects, the which spans for thousands of years. The cultural aspects, the lifestyle of people, they have not changed much. Like fishing, for example, would attract me a lot because the way people do fishing in different kind of water bodies and the techniques they use. Then human-animal conflicts. When today also you will keep hearing, people are dying because of the conflicts with elephants, because Odisha has been a country of elephants, especially this region. And then crocodile, like if you go to Brahmani River, the Vitarkanika National Park and surrounding areas, where you would often hear about crocodiles, um, you know, the conflicts between conflicts, humans and conflicts, crocodiles. So those things would have been always there. But when we talk about history, we don't talk about these aspects of daily life of people, how they were resilient to the climate, how they produce their food, how they manage the resources, how they manage the conflicts with animals. So all these things, their architecture, vernacular architecture, their belief systems, their faith in nature. So all these things, trade, how people would come from different parts of the country, different parts of the world to Odisha, especially this region, to do trade from Gandhar, from Rome, from Southeast Asia. So all these things were there. I mean, and we don't talk about this. So when I started thinking about those, I did also a lot of research that how elephants were domesticated, because elephants were the key part of Odisha's success stories. I mean, Odisha's history. They and today the kings of Odisha were also known as Gajapatis. You know,
Mhm.
so I did research, of course, online, how in 19th century, because there are a lot of colonial records in Burma, in Sri Lanka, how elephants were domesticated, and also my own travel in different parts of Odisha, folklore, listening to the people, folklore in Kandhamar, in Koraput, in Mayurbhanj, in Sundargarh, in different parts of Odisha. So I traveled through and understand, and I felt that the stories have not changed much from last 2000, 2500 years. So then I started writing. And then the objective was what I need to tell. Because this has to be a contemporary and a very powerful story. So that, when we live in this world of violence, conflicts, countries are fighting with each other for the resources. A lot of innocent people are dying. There is intense climate change now. Uh, there's also food security. There are a lot of these issues we are struggling with, both as a state, as a nation, as well as also as the world. And what was the role of Buddhism? So Buddhism just was not a religion founded by Buddha, to propagate an idea, but it is also a healing power. Like if we mindfully, practice the eightfold path of Buddha, what he has taught about, I think we would be able to bring an immense change. The way people have become greedy today, uh, there is not, there's a lot of desire, and I know because of many factors, maybe social media, maybe because of the globalizations, consumerism. So all these things, I think Buddhism has a very strong role. So my characters, when I started building, it's a love story because this also, because I feel that love has the greatest power for a human, for a transformation. You know, uh, but it's not that living together, but also understanding and sharing, and moving in the right directions, mindfully, compassionate way. I think that will also lead to transformation, personal transformations. So all my fictions, not only this book, where I I have always portrayed love as the key aspect for the transformation of people, for the of the characters, and all of them are positive. So of course, uh, it has to be a drama. Uh, and in this book, Kalinga Love's Battlefield, the three protagonists, Hiranya, Mrilini, and Maiti, who becomes Thera Maitrabhanu, he becomes a Buddhist monk. So these three characters, somehow interwoven with Buddhist ideas, spirituality, and then I see that dance, like Mrilini becomes a well-known dancer, and how she used art, performing art, to heal the world, wounded world, not for her own transformation, but also bringing transformations in others' life. So this is how I have tried to imagine and create this story. I think I spoke a lot.
No, it was great listening to you, sir. As I was reading across this book, as I was going through the book,
Right.
and first of all, in the beginning, it took me really long time to build interest in the beginning, because it was all about festival. Festival was a great interest, of course. Then they'll go see Hasti Mangala festival. There'll be a lot of elephants. And then later, when the story builds, when Nilini met Hiranya, then I felt the real story begins from that. According to me, I don't know. Maybe yeah, every reader has different perspective as well. So then, but I felt a little that the romance between them is very little, very less in this book.
Only 2-3 chapters.
Yeah.
But then again, it is a story of separation. Okay. It is a story of longing. That is also part of romance, no? Okay. That is also like when you, if there has to be elements of drama, because otherwise it would not create much interest. So these are the things which I try to read.
So, sir, in this book, I came across a lot of things which fascinated me really the most. There was one puja which is called Basili Puja of Mahipura, and fish sacrifice. Can you please elaborate on this?
So Basadi Puja is a very common thing. I mean, it is mostly celebrated by the fishermen. Not mostly, I think only the fishermen celebrate. Where they do a fish offer offer a fish to the Basadi deity. It has connection with Ramayana also.
Okay.
So when I was traveling in Mahanadi River, in near Sapkosia Gorge, I met a very elderly woman where she had a hand tattoo. You know, I think she would be 75 years old. Where there were two horses, and somehow I was very attracted towards it. And then I asked the local people. They told me, they narrated me about their connection with Ramayana, which I have discussed in the book. And even today also they celebrate Basadi Puja, where these dummy horses are created and they perform dance, and there is a lot of merriment, puja, uh, festivals, and everybody enjoys. They also worship their boats, their tools for fishing, and so that's a very vibrant tradition. I thought this would have been similar kind of tradition would have been also there in those times. Maybe it would have been called something else, but I could not find any other name. So I thought that let's call it Basari Puja.
So, do they have a season for this puja?
Yes, of course. Yes. When there is a lean season
Okay.
of fishing, I don't know exactly when it is held, but during the lean seasons. So the entire, if you go to any fisherman village in Chilka Lake or in Mahanadi River, so you will see that they do this. And this Chaiti Ghoda, what they call it, also they are used in the various kinds of events like Dolo Purnima. Okay. They use that. So this is how.
So Dolo Purnima is coming.
Yeah, just next week.
So yeah,
we'll get this week only.
Okay. Yes. So Basili is a goddess.
Yeah, Basili
She is a form of which goddess?
It's a folk deity.
Okay, folk deity.
So basically, what you see in Odisha, whether it is like this Khurda, near Khurda, that place, Boruni, or Damani, or Hingudai, all of them are basically spirit deities. Okay. And they were,
they are associated with cult.
They were associated with cult. Then people would pass, they would travel from one region to the forest or to the water body, Kalijai. So they would worship them for the safe protections. And these have very, very long history. Maybe they would be called differently. So and I call them, I find them, they're very fascinating, Yakhini, Yakhya and Yakhini. So I associate them, and they believe that it's a part of Indian culture, folk culture and tribal culture. They believe that they are the protectors. There you would not find the mainstream deities like Vishnu, Shiva and all. Okay. So they are the actually saviors of people during the time of the crisis. Whether there is an epidemic or there are droughts or floods or whatever.
Any natural kind of calamities will occur. So people will pray them.
Yeah. And they believe that they are the protectors. So all these elements, what I have seen, I have found during my travel. I thought that they have a very old connection. So I tried to bring them together.
It's quite interesting to know all the past stories. Yeah. So there was one thing, Kashyapa. They were crossing across. Bhadda and his family, they were going to Hastimangala festival.
Right. Bhadda and his family.
Kashyap, they came across Kashyapa, who's a piker, who was there in piker camp.
Yeah.
And then he's an archer. Is he a Kondha? Right?
No, see, basically, there would be different kind of Paiko Akhdas. Today also we have Paiko Akhdas. Puri, if you go, there is a vibrant tradition of Puri Paiko Akhdas. And the whole area around in Rayagad, Khorda, Ganjam, Cuttack, the hilly terrains of this part of Odisha, you have a very rich tradition of Paikas. So they would have camps, even not very far. I mean, 300, 400 years before also, they would have their camps in the secluded forest, which were not accessible. And there would be also a kind of mechanism, system you would find, where there would be leaders, group leaders. they would be called Gada Beheras. And then under there would be students. They are simply pikers, and they would be going through rigorous training day and night. And so they were there even at the time of Ashoka. Uh, because I have tried to also give the story of the geopolitics, because Ashoka had an eye over Kalinga, because it was the gateway to the South India as well as to Southeast Asia, because there were several ports flourished along the Odisha coast. Uh, so that I have tried to give in these stories. So then they would passing through, the forest, great forest of Kalinga at that time, and they would come across one, and where actually the drama happens. Milini meets Hiranya,
Yes.
and his brother also, Saranya, and it's a kind of love at first sight. Both were attracted to each other, and then they go to Mahanadi, understand, and so this is how the story begins.
Yes.
And Maiti becomes a good friend, a dear friend of his brother Saranya, and he is an aspiring fighter as well, fighter.
Yes, yes, yes.
But somehow
He changed his
he
path
changes his
to
mind and heart when he come across with a senior monk,
Buddhist
monk
yes.
at Tusali, and keeps hearing about, and he travels with him to different settlements, and he sees the people's grievance, sorrow, people's how suffering. So, and then he becomes a Buddhist monk.
Yeah.
And so this is how.
Sir, there's this one more question. I have actually multiple questions.
Okay.
So I'm asking you one by one. How did you come up with, as you mentioned, that Maiti becomes Buddhist monk at the end? Then how did you come across with Buddhist teachings in this adventurous journey?
Okay. See, when we think of Kalinga at that time, at the beginning, one of the beginning chapters, you would see that in a village where they first, on the bank of Brahmani, uh, the same Buddhist monk was, preaching while he was traveling from Tamliki to Tosali.
Yes.
So they were Buddhist, and like today, when we are suffering for various reasons, desire is one of the main aspects. So that time also it was there. So people had problems, death or poverty, or or any kind of epidemic, violence, all the kinds of things were there at that time. So, and they would be looking for the kind of, solutions, understanding about their problems, healing of those their problems. And Buddhism was slowly, Buddhist monks were playing their roles, visiting from one village. That was the role of the Buddhist monks actually, except the chomas, that is the monsoon seasons. They would be going from village to village and talk about Buddha's,
preach about
preach, and also
spread
deal with the problems of the common people. So that is how I saw Buddhism was there. Jainism was also to some extent there at that time, and then there were also tribal beliefs, customs. So all of these things were simultaneously existing, based depending on the context. If it is a plain area, I would find forest area may not be much. So so these Buddhist preaching and all were very common. It was not that Ashoka became Buddhist and started preaching Buddhism. It was even before him also it was there. So probably he organized. He made it more formal. By adopting the Buddha's Eightfold Path. And since he was an emperor, he had the power and the authority. So people would listen to him. So that was he did. But it was already there.
Yeah. So, sir, do you also follow Buddha's Eightfold Path in your daily life?
It is very difficult. I am trying my best, but it's very difficult because. But I have started staying myself with more now, without interacting much with other people. and trying to reflect as much as I can, where I am doing wrong, how can I control my anger, how can be I more compassionate. So I see people, like I keep writing in social media as well sometimes, like see that uh, my mother, for example, she's not a Buddhist, but sometimes she controls my anger, or any of my friends or relatives, they are elder to me, they control my anger, they become, I learn how to become more compassionate. They may be not practicing compassionate, but sometimes I see that every element, every form of life, you will find some kind of things, some positive things there. I mean, it's not it's there with everyone, with you, with me, with everyone. I think we have to adopt those ideals of a person, rather than the negative sides of a person.
Yes.
And then it's difficult, but it's a slow process. I've done 2 times vipassana, 10 days meditations without talking anything. 2 times I have done in my life, but I don't practice vipassana. But whatever I have learned from those experiences, I practice, because I see that, supposing you are going through a bad phase, some is not happening according to your wish, but I consider this, that this will also pass away.
Yes.
The bad phase will also pass away. It's no, I should not be worried about it. And then slowly I have started also controlling myself in various things. Like I used to be a traveler, would travel everywhere. Photography was my hobby. Then I have now given my camera. I'm not using my camera. I am not traveling much also. I said there is endless. I mean, rather than you do more mindful traveling and understand people, be with them, not throughout the day traveling or visiting many and many places. So all these things are happening with me now.
While traveling as well, we should connect to the locals and
Yeah,
get to know
locals,
their
spend time with
culture.
them,
Yes.
understand them, and stories, listen to their
Yes.
stories,
Yes.
and be a part of their life. So, and I think once people speak out more, and they also become little free from stress
Yes.
free,
Yes.
and more relaxed. And I think these are the solutions, not the medicines.
Yes. Yes. I believe that Buddha, whatever he has taught us
Mhm.
in his Eightfold Path rule, he just gave this thinking. No, humans. These are the aspects of ideal human being.
Right, right, right.
Whether you follow it or not, that is depending on each and every person. But he just gave, this is how an ideal human should be,
Right.
and then this is on us whether we are. There are people who don't follow this, but they are
Right.
already like this.
Right, right, right,
They are
right.
by nature like this.
Yes, yes, yes.
So yeah, it's better if they know it. They are
Yeah, yeah.
coming
So that
across
was
this
the
and they are
idea of writing
following
this book,
this.
so that
Yes.
you tell in a form of a story
Hmm.
that how powerful Indian thought, Indian ideals,
Yes.
and what was the contribution of India to the world of ideas, to the world of belief systems,
Yes.
to world of compassions, and how significant today these are.
Definitely. In today's world, it is
Yeah,
more
definitely.
significant.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah. Yes. Sir, do you have any favorite chapter in this book? Like mine is Maiti's journey of reflection and wisdom turned out to be my personal favorite.
Mhm.
And do you have any favorite chapter in this book?
My favorite chapter would be like the how she uses my Milini dance art
Hmm.
to heal people.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that is my favorite chapter.
Firstly,
Uh,
her parents,
and
then
then she
yeah.
convinced her parents, and then and I thought that how creatively uh, one can connect to the people, one can transform their lives, and also convince to someone, to your own parents and all, like through art. So that was my favorite chapter, where I felt that I'm not just talking about mindless dance, but also a meaningful way of performing,
Connecting to
connecting with
people.
people.
Yeah. So, as I see that you have added little bit of everything, as spirituality, adventure, travel, and when this desire, love, and then eager to learn more, and then the war thing, everything you have added. So, may I know the reason behind adding all the little things?
To make it a more compelling story, I mean, which would attract. Otherwise, people would lose interest. If you simply talk about spirituality, that would probably not address to a large number of people.
Okay.
Adventure, spirituality. This is, I think, is the way of life. We all go through like adventure. We all go through relationships. We all go through spirituality. So this is, I think, we all go through. So this is like Navras, as you say, in Indian traditions. So all forms of thing are together. Uh, so yeah.
Yeah. I saw, and then you have added each and every bit of every aspect of it. So I enjoyed it the most.
Thank you.
Sir, as you mentioned in this book, Bhadda and his family, they stayed back in Tosali
Right.
after reaching, as they had got a new house there, and Bhadda started taking training of pottery training, and then why didn't they return to Kutti?
Because now the children are also settled there, and he sees that more meaningful life. Like people go from village to today also people migrate to cities, no?
Yeah, but then did he take every single thing from Kutti and shift it to
So he
Tosali?
would have very little things at his home.
Uh,
They were simple, humble quarters.
mhm.
Here, starting a new life.
Hmm.
He might have gone some time back,
Hmm.
which I did not find it.
Yeah, because other fellow mates of him, they all left.
They left.
Yeah,
They
they
were
left.
the few members. They left.
Yeah.
So his idea was to come and because this was the transformation happened to him also. So when he came and he saw that there is a lot of prospects, living in a city, you are coming, you are refining your skills.
Your art.
You are acquiring new skills, and you become a very powerful Sreni. Then you leave. I mean, you settle down. Then you see your children are also settling down here.
Yes,
So you leave,
yes, yes. Sir, as Bhadda said to Mrinili, that we will go look for Hiranya, and anyhow we will figure out where he is and we will find him. But they didn't go. They didn't go to look for Hiranya, and she kept waiting for Hiranya to come. And one day Hiranya just showed up, and they met. Why did that happen?
Why Hiranya was abducted?
No. Why didn't they go to look for him? Why didn't
Where
they
would
go
they
to?
go? Because Patliputra is too far, and
But then he said, Bhadda said, no,
and
we
they
will
do
go
not know
anyhow,
anything. They
and
do not know anything about it. I mean, whether he was in Patliputra, he was else in somewhere else. They do not have any idea. And today we are living in a different kind of world. Just imagine 2,300 years back. There would be hardly any kind of communication.
Yeah.
Even once you leave, you don't know whether you are going to be alive or not.
But then I felt a little disheartened because Bhadda assured her, assured his daughter, and then but still they didn't go.
He did not go.
Yeah.
But maybe he would have gone. But it happened, because Milini also started transforming herself when she came across the Buddhist monk, and she said that if I start worrying about him, it's not. She's going to hurt herself more.
Yeah.
There has to be some other way of, because what is happening with Hiranya, it is not in our hand.
Yeah. Yes. I got it now.
So yeah, then it's like it's a story. Then there has to be a happy ending. So he returned,
Mm. Yeah,
and
he sneaked away
yeah,
from that place. Yes.
yeah, with the help of a girl.
Yeah. Yeah. So, when Hiranya returned back,
Mm-hmm.
and then as he was practicing to become a warrior,
Mm-hmm.
in Paika Khadas,
Mm-hmm.
he was there. And then, but why didn't Hiranya become a strong fighter or warrior after returning back? To be prepared for the
No, he
future.
also changed. He did not. He gave up also his warrior thing.
Okay.
He became. He started taking the business of
Bada.
Bada.
Mm.
He became a potter. He
Yes, yes,
becomes a
yes,
potter.
yes, yes.
But his brother was there. Saranya was there.
Mm.
He was anyway killed. The
Yeah,
battle.
he was killed. He
Uh,
was killed.
uh,
So no, what if the attackers would have come later, and then he didn't, when he was practicing, and then why didn't he decide to choose to take a revenge on them?
no, see again, it was again influence of Buddhism. Na?
Okay.
So because Millennium was that he also started following Buddhism, both of them.
Okay.
So there was no point of taking revenge and all. Like whatever had happened in the past.
Okay.
So let's focus on present and also see how our future can become better if we focus on present. So that the whole idea was that.
Okay.
So yeah, so I'm trying to use Buddhism in a very subtle way, say that you detachment, become more focusing on present, more mindful living. All these elements I'm trying to bring in.
Yeah. So, sir, I have heard different stories of Ashoka's transformation. And as I've heard, um, while he killed, while Kalinga war had happened, and the Daya Nadi was all blood.
Blood, huh?
So, and then there was one woman. She, she told
Karubaki.
she told
No, the
Ashoka.
Karubaki he had met before actually, before the Kalinga War.
Okay.
When he was in exile for 2 years in Kalinga. Karubaki, we come to know about Karubaki from Allahabad Prasasti inscriptions.
Mm-hmm.
I have written in the book Embracing Compassion, Buddhism, where I have talked about it. It's a non-fiction book.
Okay.
Where I have talked about Karubaki stories.
Okay. Okay.
She was a fisher, daughter of a fisherman, and but very intelligent. And we don't get to know about, we only come to know about Karubaki from the Allahabad Prasasti.
Okay.
And there
But
is
then
a
she had transformed Ashoka in some
no,
way.
not a little bit of that, but it was the Kalinga War. That is what we learn. We have read in the history book, and was the main. He transformed himself. His brother actually had played a very important role, Hemathera.
Okay.
Sorry, Theratisa.
Theratisa.
Who I have also talked about him.
Theratisa have written about him.
But I have not
Maitra
talked much
Bandhu
about her.
was
I have not.
inspired.
This is but I have given the credit to Maitra Bhanu.
Maitra Bhanu.
This
Maitra
is
Bandhu.
my own creative freedom.
Maitra Bandhu.
Uh,
So he, okay, Ashoka got transformed by Maitra Bandhu.
So that's my creative freedom.
Okay, okay. As Maitra Bandhu got transformed by
Thera's
Thera.
student.
Yes,
Thera,
yes, he was Thera's student.
Thera Tisa's student.
He learned all the teachings of Buddhism by him. Yes. So, sir, how you being an Odia influenced you to write this story?
So this is the story of this land, because when you are a student of archaeology, I'm a student of archaeology, so I deal with the material remains of the past, but I need them to talk, reveal their stories, and this is how it has come up. And though I'm born here, and for last 50 years I am attached to this land, I have read about the stories of this land, listened to so many peoples. So all these things have influenced, and I felt that since I have got that skill, why not to use that for writing a story, a fictional story, so that I would be able to give something to my motherland in return, whatever I have received from her.
Yeah, great. So, can you tell me the journey of this book? As you said, it took you 2 decades, almost two
So
decades.
many times I would travel in the interior of Odisha, listen to the stories. I kept, writing small blogs of my understanding in my different books, and it all happened. I mean, then I finally decided that I must write it. So I think it started somewhere in 2 3 years back, and then I started putting all of them, and used these characters, these things. I also took the help of AI to make it more smooth, and so this is how it has evolved.
So, may I ask the impact of the stories like this in your life?
As I said, look, I have started believing more in Buddhism now, and I believe that. So I'm single, of course, uh, but I had also married, and Kalini, who was my wife, she's there. She's suffering from paranoid schizophrenia. She's a Gujarati. She, when we got married, anyway, it was a love marriage, but somehow I think I did not understand much she was talking to me earlier. Maybe it was my male ego or something, uh, or attachment. I don't know what exactly it is. I would ignore, or and look for my own interest. But then writing this book, I started realizing that though she's not with me right now, but I mean, living with me, but I felt the power of love. I mean, whatever she was telling me, it's like, uh, I mean, there was a concern for me, and and I think these stories I need to tell through my characters, not only in this book, in other books as well.
Okay. Yeah.
So it's more like my personal journey as well.
Yes, as you said, your wife. So she inspired you,
Yeah,
kind
a
of.
lot. I would not understand at that time.
She had a great impact in your life.
I would not understand at that time, but now I realize that what she was saying, it is right. She told me once that when you are writing very nice stories and all, but try to see at the eyes of the person who is talking to you and understand as much as possible. So, I did not understand at that time why she's telling me this, but now I realize that
Yeah.
how.
Yeah, you should see anything from the insider's perspective.
Yeah, right,
Yes.
right.
Yes.
So now when you are talking to me, and that there are different kind of perspectives I am gaining through. So my biases are also overcoming now, like how it could have been better. Of course, I'm trying to defend it, but I'm also realizing that it could have gone in some other way also,
Yeah.
because the way you have experienced life, I have experienced life.
Yes.
Your surrounding, my surrounding, they're different. I think when we share through this kind of informal, discussions, casual discussions, I think we know better, and this helps each other.
Yes.
And you have to treat everyone equally. I mean, no one is gone are the days, only the elders knew everything, the elders, youngers knew little. I think all of us, even a 3-year-old child also has a lot of things to tell.
Yes. As I have read a lot of books, not lot, but then few books, few spiritual books.
Yeah, right.
And then I've come across this thing. You should not look down upon anyone. You should not look up.
Right. Yeah,
upon
everyone
anyone.
is equal.
Yes.
I mean, they have come up with their own experiences,
Yeah.
their own surroundings, their stories, and all.
Yeah.
I think that is the biggest strength of the humanity to survive. We
Yes.
share all each of everyone's stories and understand better, instead of criticizing.
Mhm.
I think,
Yeah.
that
Yeah, everybody has a different journey.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. You just need to be open to
yeah,
listen.
right,
Yeah.
right.
Yes. Yes, sir. So there's this thing as I saw in this book, there are a lot of AI images, AI generated images. And then in the few images, I didn't
I think
find
they are. I tried my best actually. This we
similarities.
will probably replace in some other
Yeah,
versions.
yeah. Because in some pictures, if I'm imagining here, Hiranya and Mrilini like this, and then the other picture, they look different.
Different. Yeah. AI is also at the beginning stage. I mean, it will
Yeah.
take time. I have subscribed to this chat GPT, but I think it is in another 2-3 years. I think it will become more
There are
streamlined.
other good AIs as well.
Streamlined.
Yes.
It will become more streamlined.
So yeah, that I found it.
But
little,
I also agree. I also agree.
in this book, because if you see all the
No,
characters
in other
are
books
same throughout the
other books as well. So that will improve over a period of time.
Yes. So
But
if
we
you
can't
see,
wait for that. No,
yes,
that let's work on it.
yeah,
And so once things, because these are all like, you can go for reprinting.
yes,
So that will change.
yes. Yeah, when you see one character on the beginning and
little bit
at the end, you just connect to them.
Right.
But then when you see all the different faces,
images,
you feel
one should not see much. I think it's more of the reading, because sometimes people like to see images and connect.
As I feel visual way of studying is very interesting and you grasp more.
Right.
And then for me that helps. And then I could connect to the characters.
I agree
could
with you.
connect
Like
to
this has
the
a lot of people have
music.
told me also the same thing, which we will once we will work on it again and see how things can become better.
Yeah.
Okay, I think this will be also so many times.
So the journey, as I told, and then you have mentioned about this Mrilini's transformation and Hiranya's as well transformation, and then Maitra Bandhu, he became Maitra Bandhu. He was Maitra Bhanu. And then he was the two siblings are quite, the journey of two siblings are quite cherishable, to be honest, as they had transformed themselves from simple human being to a spiritual human being.
Right.
So what is your thought on this?
This is what I believe, is that we all need to transform at a particular point of time, and this has to be organic, not coming under some just influence, but it has to come from within. The way you experience things and your own circumstances, your events in life. So all these things play a role in the transformations, and this is what has happened in their lives as well.
I saw, sir, everybody's transformation, even Bhadda's transformation, Maitra Bhanu's transformation, and then Mrilini's
transformation in the economic sense, and also as a father. He was always very caring for father.
Yeah, that mother, she didn't transform, or her story was very less, I felt. Yeah. Then I didn't read her transformation story. Yes.
Yeah. She was actually, she was a connect. She was a bridge between all of them.
Yeah. Yes. Yes, sir.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for listening to us. It was a great conversation with Jitu sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.